what's free-to-play, green, ruined, and has an E100? It's me, hello there. Oh, it's so bad, this. I waited 2 months for this, hoping that it would be fixed. And then maybe I could, like, sort of gremlin my way out of it. But no, I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. This account, as a free-to-play, was ruined the day I decided to join the YouTube Cup. But at the same time, if I was on the theOrangeDoom, I guess, yeah, I'd have the IS-7, which I'd never play. And I'd have 100,000 gold, which I would have anyways. Now, among the members of G Squad, so Kath, Oddballs, Slick, Rhoda, and Oxy, we did actually reach out to Gaijin asking if the reward of Golden Eagles could actually be given away to our community, right? So that instead of me receiving 100,000 gold, I could give it away. They actually said 9! So now we're stuck here, and I have a free-to-play account which has 100,000 gold. I have no idea what to do with. I have an E100 that I can't really play because I don't have a lineup for it. And I have, well, I don't have it yet, but as a reward, an additional reward for winning the YouTube Cup, we got to choose one not completely customizable top-tier vehicle of choice. So essentially, we were able to choose from a selection of top-tier tanks and top-tier planes and top-tier helicopters and top-tier ships. And you could choose one vehicle. So I think the majority of my teammates went with stuff like a H.A.T.E or a Leo or H.A.T.E or whatever. I think I'm the only person that went with a plane, and I chose the Mystère B2 because that was the plane that I actually used in one of the tournaments that we had, because we played 3 matches in total. We were the only team, as far as I'm aware, to have played every single type of battle. So we played top tier first, then World War II, and then we finished the final with naval battles. And I thought the Mystère with the Sneb rockets was so fun that I thought I needed this. And I think it looks kind of nice, like a French monkfish. So I've read a few comments, and people keep asking me if I'm going to do some lower tier content. So here's a 3.3 American lineup match, right? Not a perfect lineup, actually pretty botched up one, but the Chaffee, relatively stock, I think. I don't even have the artillery, but you know, has 5 prevention equipment, has parts, so that it's something. The issue with the account at the moment is that I don't really want to grind it, even though, yeah, it would be nice to get to that 7.0 Germans. It would be nice to go for 9.0 French in the near future. I don't know, like, I guess when you grind through the game once and you grind through the game again, and I was thinking about this recently quite a lot, with more vehicles being added, the game seems to be less rewarding, because unlocking a vehicle feels less special. We tend to sort of overlook stuff. You unlock something and you're like, I guess I unlocked it, but there's this vehicle after it that I really want to unlock, and then you unlock that vehicle and say, but there's a vehicle after that one I want to unlock. So it never really kind of satisfies you. There's a couple of vehicles that I'm sure people will aim for, and when you unlock them, it's going to be like fun, but it's not the way it used to be in the old days, not for me at least. I remember unlocking my first Tiger H, playing it on Kuban, getting one shot by a T-34 and thinking, this thing is crap, I never want to play it again. But, you know, it was back in the day. I didn't know what angling was. So everybody's experience, I think, with Tiger 1, you know, getting one shot and then being just ragey. So to recreate those feelings, that's why we've been stuck in custom battles. That's why I've spent more time recently thinking about how I could recreate an older version of War Thunder rather than grind or go try hard on what we have. Because what we have at the moment, whilst fun for a lot of new players, I need my nostalgia back. So I've been playing around with the custom battles. I've done some testing. Yesterday we did a stream, an entire 2.5 hours of setting things up, seeing how it works, going in and out of matches. And we found 2 major problems. Now, I don't know if I want to make a video individually on this, because there's 2 issues that none of us can fix, because we're not Gaijin. These are, in fact, issues that have to do something with coding. There was some, probably an update broke it. But there's stutter, which means when you're in a custom battle, about 50% of the people that were in the custom battle had slight lag spikes, including myself. And the actual custom battle has 3 settings. You can set it in arcade, realistic, or simulator, and there was a 4th option called custom. The idea of custom is that you would take, say, realistic battle flight models, but you could turn markers on and off. You could play around with whether vehicles have the aim indicator on their radar SPA. There's a lot of these micro changes you can make in these settings. I think one of the settings that I found very interesting was you could turn pilot mortality on and off, which, if I understand correctly, means that your pilot might never get shot just because his vitality is low, which is an interesting feature, which I think would be nice in a custom battle to turn off, which means that people who have a stock crew would still have an increased survivability of their pilot. But again, the problem is the custom option for the custom battles, which we more or less really need to be able to make this into a fun, balanced, and potentially future-prune event, don't work. And basically, if you try to set it up with the custom battles, you can't even join. You can't even test it. It won't let any player ready up. So these two issues are issues we can't really do these custom battles with. And unfortunately, it's at the mercy of Gaijin to see if they're ever going to fix it. So when we have these type of issues that we're confronted with, we have different ways of solving them, right? You as a player, you probably won't do anything because, I mean, what can you do? Me as a content creator, I can make a video about it and I can rant and I can, But we're not doing our due diligence, are we? Because what we really should be doing is going to the War from the forums, find the correct topic, make a thread, be polite, concise, argument everything, provide the necessary links and clog files from the War from the documents, go through this whole process just so that somebody can read it and then maybe forward it to development, so the development can then fix it within a certain amount of, say, years. Nobody does it. Nobody goes to the War from the forums. I don't think people are active there anymore. And I went back there just to have a look if I could find anything that I've posted over the years. And I found three interesting posts. The first one here is a complaint about not having everything in the Japanese tech tree spaded. So you can clearly see all the vehicles are in fact spaded, but the actual counter on my profile wasn't updating. The second post I had was about the UI scaling, which they did something to the way the scaling works, and it just suddenly made the UI interface just look all clogged up. And the last one is a classic example of why I don't use the forums and why I find it funny when I get questions today about, hey, Orange, do you think that battle ratings of jets are too compressed? And I'm like, dude, here's a post from 2015 with that exact problem. 2015. That's 4 years ago that I was trying to push the agenda of fixing battle ratings of jets. That's how long an issue has existed. So you would probably be quite understanding here that, if there was a problem 4 years ago and it hasn't been fixed, and yet in the entirety of that time we've only received more vehicles, you can understand why I don't play jets, and also why I don't go to the War from the forums, and also why I don't have a particularly high or, say, positive outlook on the way Gaijin balances or does anything in this game for that matter. Because the problems that I had to face 5 years ago are still in the game present today. And the sole reason I'm mentioning this is because for the past 3 years, I've been playing old school RuneScape. Okay, RuneScape is a game I grew up with as a kid, and it then it got ruined. Okay, let's put it that way. And to me, the moment when that game got ruined is very similar to the way War Thunder's currently headed in a direction. It's like a direction I'm not supporting, I'm not a fan of, yet the game's still there. And when that happened, the RuneScape team decided to take a small portion of the development and make a different game. In fact, just pulling out an old version. It's comparative if War Thunder just decided, hey, 1.27 is out again, Old graphics, old vehicles, old game modes, old maps that they used to have. So everything just sort of it got set back. And at first, the game wasn't doing that well, but then it just picked up. It picked up because they started adding content that people actually cared about. They only added content people cared about. And I've been following this community for the past 3 years very intensely, being a part of it. Not as a contributor. I don't really post anything. I don't ask questions. I don't make sort of my own stuff. But I read it. I read and I look at the memes, and I look at the complaints, and I look at the way that their development team, engages with the community. And the one place where they're extremely active is, in fact, Reddit. Like, yeah, they're active on Twitter. Like, all of their developers are moderators, and they're all active on social media. So you could quite literally tweet at one of them and be like, yo, is this okay? You know, shows a picture of a bug, and then they'll have it fixed. And the stuff that they have in the game that tends to be broken gets fixed within a week, because they have weekly updates, right? And they're not weekly updates like, oh, new premium vehicle this week and new premium vehicle next week. No, it's just like, you know, today we're bringing a couple of bug fixes, and they also have a poll system, which means anything that they want to do that would change the way a vehicle behaves or change performance or change a battery, everything gets polled. Which means the community says, okay, yeah, we actually do want this to happen, and no, we don't want this to happen. Every update has a poll. Every change has a poll. Meanwhile, in War Thunder, I mean, forget about democracy. You got a problem with the game? Yeah, shut up and keep playing it. It's nothing ever gets fixed. There's at best, the Reddit thread or the forum thread or a comment or a YouTube video or a tweet, something blows up out of proportions, and then their initial reaction is just throwing a band-aid over it, waiting a week, announcing a new vehicle, adding the dev server, and everybody's happy. Because War Thunder community essentially lives off of hype. Hype is all they have, is the only thing they can rely on, and the hype, I guess, keeps on giving this fake illusion of hope that perhaps the next patch something will get fixed. You can forget about all those tiny bits like an aileron or a flap not showing on a plane because it's been bugged for 2 months. We have bigger issues. You know, I care way more about what Gaijin will do in the next 3 years with this game, which at the moment is going straight into the gutter, as opposed to what a Reddit thread might think about my personality. And yet, recently, the War Thunder community has been so heavily focused on what this guy said and what that guy thinks, and oh, this guy's got mental problems, and that guy's been drunk on stream, and this guy... It's just shut the fuck up. Like, we have a game that's in its entirety broken. There's not one bit of it that really functions. There's no one game mode that really functions. From pay to win to lack of just unlockability features to just a horrible grind system, just painful matchmakers, painful maps scenarios, compression everywhere. Just there's so much that's broken, yet we're focused about what my opinion is and some other person living on the other side of the world who I don't even know, and yet I'm talking about their personality. You know nothing of anybody's personality unless you've met them in real life. You don't know if they're playing a character because they're an online personality. You have no idea who that person is, what they're going through, what their background is, what they grew up. Just shut up and grow up. I'm sick and tired of having this constant drama phase with War Thunder, and because it's not good drama. I mean, yeah, it's fun. You know, it doesn't concern me, for example. So all the recent stuff that went down, I could just sit there and read, and I would feed off of it. Oh, all the free salt. It doesn't fix anything for me, though. The game ain't going to get no better with all that drama. 5 years ago, it was Russian bias that people were sort of indifferent on, and then it was cheat FS, and then it was close air support, and now it is, I don't know, I guess SAMs or whatever the things are called. Every year, something new is sort of like the flavor of the month that we have to complain about. And yet, as long as we're talking about problems that are actually in the game, fine. But when we start talking about things that don't concern the game mode and we're content creators, it's just petty. It's absolutely petty. In a game this broken, where really the community should be as close to one another and as united to try to get finally, imagine a quality of life update. Imagine a patch of War Thunder that has no dev server, no hype, no premium vehicles get added, no vehicle gets added at all. It's just a patch with fixes. Imagine if a War Thunder developer came on Reddit and was like, hey, could you name me one thing you would like to see fixed in the next month? And then a bunch of people, I want the clouds fixed, I want the battering of this tank get fixed, I want decompression of jets. And imagine that in 1 month, everything gets fixed. And the worst part is that, to me saying this, the reaction of the average player is, haha, good joke, yeah, never gonna happen. And it's that mentality. It's that mentality that we have, that things will never change. They never will change. It's the same as people who say, I'm not going to vote because I can't influence the change. You know, it's not like I'm just one person, man. I can't make a difference. You're supposed to be united. And yet we're fighting over these just such dumb things and accusations. And I just think that the longer you play this game, the more tilted you become, like the more bittersweet. Like, I think we're all bitter these days. At least the old content creators, the ones that have a lot of matches, I think the longer you play this game, the more toxic you become, because you start to sort of, you feel the disdain, and it's like, no patch is ever good, and nothing's ever good enough for you, because you know what you really want. And what we really want is we don't want anything to be added to the game, you know? There's no vehicle. This is one question that always pops up. What is a vehicle you would like to see added? I wouldn't want to see anything added. I want to see things that exist get fixed. Then you can add more stuff. And one of my biggest gripes with the community recently has actually been with content creators and with not with what they're uploading, but with what they're not uploading. There just hasn't been any content. Am I the only person that's noticed this? And maybe it's because I'm out of the loop and I haven't been watching the new content creators. There's this one guy I recently discovered, and I was shocked. I was shocked that I didn't know this guy existed. You know, in this pool of hype content and YouTubers who essentially only go and stream when the dev server's up and only make videos on hype vehicles that aren't even in the game yet, I found this gem. This guy's called 1337 How-To-Play. I think he's Russian, judging from his accent. His English is actually extremely nice and very enjoyable to listen to. He has these sort of quite, I want to call them like rough jokes. It's like, it's hard to describe, but like really like stiff jokes. So enjoyable to listen to. He spent a lot of time gathering all the footage. You can see he plays a lot of matches. He shows a lot of different content. In a lot of his videos, he actually shows both arcade and realistic as a contrast to where the differences are. He has a lot of videos, in fact, on which game mode is more effective for certain research. This guy has done more than I did, and I've been playing this game for 6 years. And I have to really dig deep these days to find content like this, because everything else is just clickbait, just blown out of proportions. Videos that have nothing to do with what they're advertising, that have nothing relevant of content. There's no positivity there. It's just pure intention to grab viewers that are going to click on it because of whatever purposes, because it's hype, because you're trying to get all these new coming people in. I think content creators in Warthner are making the exact same mistake that Gaijin is making, which is focusing entirely on new players. This is why, if you look at the number of subscribers and the actual views that YouTubers are pulling, and this isn't just targeting certain people, this also includes me, my numbers have gone down dramatically. I want to say even by 50%. You know, last year I could be pulling 50,000 viewers in the video, now I'm only getting about 25,000. The reason why the number of in-game players at Gaijin is sort of staying the same is because every time an old player leaves the game, 15 new players join. Because these days, getting back into top tier is not that difficult. People can effectively, with a quick swipe of a credit card for $60, $50, or $100, boom, you're in top tier. There's no longer a grind required. There's no longer a need to play through all the tiers and experience all the battle ratings and experience different types of shells and experience different types of map rotations. You just can go straight and buy yourself into that top tier. And yeah, this used to be a really hot topic. This was something that a lot of people talked about, you know, and back in the day it was Tier 4. Tier 4 was, oh no, this is, Tier 4 premiums. They're like, oh, this is pay to win. I mean, pay to progress really was what they were referring to. Nowadays, we have Tier 5 premiums. It's like you can buy yourself into Tier 5. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And the reason why not a lot of content is being made on this topic, and why I'm not going to make, 5 videos talking about this and that, is because these are the same problems we dealt with 5 years ago. I'm not going to make another video on this topic and another video on this topic. In fact, I got sick and tired of making videos on SPA versus close air support because it's obvious to me that people don't care about SPA. They just want to play tanks and they really don't like planes. And I get it. I don't know if that's the new age of the community, if that's the old tier players or who exactly shares all those feelings, but it's how it is. I think there's a whole cult of people who just don't play SPA, and yet they're going to continue hating on planes because I want to play tank. And I get it. That's fine. It's an opinion. You're entitled to it. What you should also be entitled to is being able to understand both sides of the argument. Not just taking a stance where you think is best, but trying to understand the other person. I think we've all become extremely toxic and extremely bitter, most importantly hostile to one another, because there's frustrations that we really should be focusing on people who are really at fault here. I'm going to ask a simple question here. I want you to answer in the comment section with a yes or a no. Do you have fun in War Thunder? I think the majority of us view video games as a form of stress release, right? Yeah, I mean, for some people it's a job, for some people it's a hobby, but for most people I think it tends to be the whole idea of releasing stress. You've come from work, you've come from school, you know, whatever it is, you come here to sort of, you blow some steam off. And this game used to be perfect for that. You used to be able to just sit down, have a couple of matches, you'd progress a little bit through the game, whatnot, but you'd have a blast playing it. And then something happened, and now it's all about money. It's all about making cash, making dollar billio, and making sure the game is as broken as possible just so that you can get extra frustrated, which means you're more likely to spend more money on it. It's just a disgusting business model, and one that I'm not a fan of supporting in the slightest. I'm not asking for a lot here. I'm not asking for things to be developed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but all we want as players is just to have a game that is fun, balanced, and works. And the worst part is that until something is done to steer this boat in a proper, correct direction, you know, away from this giant iceberg in which War Thunder is currently headed at, there's going to be hostility. There's going to be constant drama, more and more pungent opinions, and just differentiating. It's going to be bad. But the worst part is the new player. The player who started playing 2 weeks ago, the person who started playing a year ago, they don't see the issues that the veteran players have been countering with. They don't understand that perhaps I'm not just sitting here bitching about some tiny problem. I'm talking about the integrity of the game that has been an issue for 5 years. And fundamentally, these new players, they will become just as hostile as the current ones, just without any kind of real reason to. Hostility, it spreads. It's like a virus. You know, the old you players, those of us who've been playing for years, we've been through some shit. We went from a 20-tier system to the battering system. We went through the tank beta testing. We saw the last man standing get added and removed. We saw 262s fight F2 sabers in their battles. We've seen so many different map changes. So many maps have been revamped, overlooked, changed, botched up, destroyed, removed, flipped upside down. Just, there's been so much that we had to go through, endure, make content on, you know, nobody makes bug reports, but try to get it to be fixed. And after all those years, all that effort you put into it, you look back for those 5 years and you have nothing to show for it. Nothing. I have 5 or 6 kill montages I can show to somebody and say, look, this is proper good content. Everything else, it's irrelevant. You make a video today, in 2 weeks it becomes just completely useless because the game is developed in some other different direction that renders your tank or your tactic or your opinion useless. And yet never has there been a patch for the past 5 years that I would say, this is fantastic. This is something really, really worth it. No event they've developed has been good. No change. Simulator battles. Used to be able to play simulator battles. Now it's just enduring confrontation. And yet people are asking for enduring confrontation for RB. They're not getting it. And whenever they do get it, it's just the most boring, redundant, same shitty map. It's sad because it's true. And I can't but feel bad again for sitting here and having to make another one of these types of videos, and yet it's going to stem more and more hate because it's an indifferent opinion, it's coming from me, I don't like this guy's personality, yada yada. At the end of the day, I'm just another player. I just want to see a fun, engaging game where I can, you know, have a fun time. And I don't think anybody in this game is really having a fun time anymore. It used to be playful, it used to be rivalry, there used to be this level of sort of like meminess. You could screw around and you could, you know, do certain things and like ram people, and there was rivalry, there was banter. Things weren't taken that seriously. Nowadays, it's just so much hatred towards everything you do. Everything is so hostile, toxic, cancerous, you name it. Just the words that have been used in discussions have changed over the years. It's a lot more dark. There's no more lightiness to the discussions we're having. You know, instead of saying, oh, good play, GG, you know, oh, that was a fantastic bomb drop you just did. Oh, cancerous close air support. Oh, this is broken. And oh, look at that SPA shooting at me from half a mile. No, it didn't even hit me. Broken ping. All these things, they create toxicity. But because we don't have a way to forward that toxicity towards where it's going to do something good, we're forwarding it to each other. And that's why there's going to be drama. There's going to be just constant toxicity between players, and it's not leading to anything good. We have to set our differences aside and for once be a community. There's going to be, people are going to hate people. This is just how the world works. There's certain people I don't like. There's certain YouTubers I don't like. There's certain people's voices I don't like. There's certain music I don't like. I don't like pickles in my burger. But personal preference aside, this is boiling down to the core mechanics. The game has to be fun for everybody. It has to be equally opportunistic to everybody. People need to have a game mode that suits them, that suits their playstyle. If people are extremely good at playing the game, they need to have their own tournaments in which they can compete with other equally skilled players, and they need to be given rewards adequate to the level of their skill. It's about time that something is done about it. Instead of constantly leading this battle agenda towards people that don't have the same opinion as yours, perhaps you should be taking the battle to the real issue, to the real villain here. And just to clarify, it's not the developer. It's not the forum moderator that's trying to forward some complaint of yours. It's not, a guy working on the tournament. It's the management. It was the management 5 years ago. It's always been the management. And yet, all the hatred is always focused on other employees, on people that are just trying to earn their living. They're just trying to get through their day, trying to do their best that they can at the position that they've been given. And yet, you completely neglect their mental health. You completely neglect what position they're in, what kind of working conditions they work in, because we don't know anything about that. I know that we're on the internet here and we can say whatever we want about whoever we want with a relatively large amount of anonymity, but you're talking about people's lives here. You're talking about actual people's lives. Think about it for a moment. We don't know the conditions that these people work in. We don't know what kind of wages they have or how good their working environment is. What we do know and what we can talk about is if we're having fun in the video game that they're producing. And if there is, in fact, a lack of it, and if the community is, like I feel like, being engulfed with just a giant cloud of negativity and hatred and general sort of disdain, then yeah, something has to change. Because issues from 5 years ago are still here, and they're going to continue being there because nothing is being done about it. So the next time Gaijin announces a patch, ask yourself, do I really think those new vehicles and that new premium shiny tank for $60 is going to make my game any more fun? If you're a content creator, ask yourself, is that video that I'm uploading, hyping some useless content, going to bring more subs to my channel? Or is it actually going to bring some older subs back because I'm doing something to contribute to the change of the game? It's as a community or not at all. And I think the time is now. The time is to have a player that's going to have fun, to have a content creator that's going to genuinely enjoy the content they're promoting and have a healthy, growing YouTuber base. And most importantly, a developer that can make income from happy rather than frustrated players. Do something about it.